Back when Vandar was added to the roster in 2020, Jim Lauren has stated his age to be somewhere from his late 20s to early 30s. And by the time the Mistland book came out, it was changed to be just early 30s. But you know, to me this estimation has always seemed off. And today I'm gonna convince you to feel the same. Since the game itself doesn't give us much information to work with, my main source is going to be the aforementioned Mistland book. But let me just warn you that this book has some problems. So I myself am not sure just how much I can actually trust it. Honestly, the Mistland book should be its own separate topic someday, but not now. Anyway, let's get back to the actual focus of this video. Today I'm going to try and determine the most likely age of your favorite homeless man, Vandar. Even though the late 20s were seemingly retconned by this point, I'm still going to add them to our presumed age range. Since late 20s to early 30s is kind of a subjective number, I'm going to consider his earliest presumed age to be 27 and the latest 33. Now you might be wondering, how exactly am I going to check these numbers? Well, to do that we're actually gonna need the help of another character, whose age we actually do know, Vernica. According to the same book, his age is 37 years old. Yes, Vernica is canonically a DILF. Anyway, to get to the details we actually need, let's take a look at Vernica's biography. This timeline shows that 32 years ago his father turned into a child and killed his entire family besides Vernica himself. This is where I have to admit that I used to think that this event took place 30 years ago, not 32, because that is how it was described to be in the game itself. But since the exact wording was, and I quote, around 30 years ago, I have to admit that technically 32 does actually count as around 30, so fine. Let's consider the book to be correct on this one. That said, Vernica was 5 years old at the time of this event, after which he had spent approximately a year being homeless on the streets of Murka until being adopted by Shalika's father. But besides that, we also know that sometime during this year, Vernica had met Vandar, and this is where we actually come back to him. Just so we're all on the same page, Vandar has been an orphan since birth, and as far as we know, he's never been adopted by anyone later in life. We also know that he was born in the Red Lotus Palace, which, if we take a look at this map, is either a very long and dangerous road to Murka City, or a shorter but still lengthy trip across the sea to Murka City. Now let's return to the age range that we established earlier. The earliest point when Vandar would have already been born in time to meet Vernica is if he was 31. But then he would have been a literal newborn, and any earlier than that he would have still been inside his dad's balls. Ages 32 and 33 still don't make any sense either. Because how the hell would a literal 1 or 2 year old without any parents have crossed the ocean and get all the way to Murka? Am I supposed to believe that some rando just picked him off the street and put him on a ship to bring him to a different country for absolutely no reason or payoff? Yeah, that never happened. Okay, so at what age would it have actually made sense for Vandar to have gotten to Murka? Now, this is where I'm gonna be extremely generous and say that the earliest believable age for him to make the trip would be 5 years old. And trust me when I say this, I am stretching the definition of believable very hard here. You know, I can't imagine baby Vandar sneaking onto a ship to Murka like the little bastard he probably was. For the sake of the argument, let's just assume that the children in Mistland are just that hardcore. All of that would mean that, in present day, the youngest possible age of Vandar would be 36 years old. And since the 5-year-old assumption is very flimsy to begin with, it would have been way more likely for this number to actually be higher. In fact, I'm willing to believe that Vandar is either the exact same age as Vernica or even older than him. Yeah, the two of them really got that German physique. But you might be wondering, if Vandar's age being anywhere near 20s to early 30s was so easy to debunk, how come nobody ever thought to correct this? Where did this extremely incorrect estimation even come from? This is where I present you with my main theory. This entire time, Vandar was lying about his age on purpose. What, you really think that this asshole wouldn't do something like that? The moment you consider this possibility, everything suddenly starts to make sense. His age was never been given in a concrete number, so it would be easier for him to be misleading. Additionally, lying about his age would allow him to be a mercenary for longer and avoid being sent to retirement for being too old. He's also using his younger appearance to his advantage, helping him to maintain the lie. I mean, you could definitely mistake this absolute twink for a teen at times, let alone for someone in his late 20s. This entire time his age being inconsistent was actually a meta lore thing, while his real age was higher than we were led to believe. What? You're saying that the real reason was because Identity did not give a single shit while making their character and never thought somebody would actually look into it? Of course I fucking know that, but this explanation would just be boring, so let me just have a moment and pretend that they actually did something clever for once, okay? Good. Alright, to recap my full theory. Vandar's age definitely cannot be anywhere near his late 20s, and it certainly is not early 30s. Instead, it's either mid to late 30s, possibly even reaching his 40s, if you really want him to be a DILF that bad. But Vandar wants everyone to think that he's significantly younger than he actually is, to extend his own employment or for other possible reasons. But what do you think about this? Comment down below if you think Vandar is a big fat liar or not. We already know the answer is yes, but please comment anyway. See you in the next one. Peace out.